Hello YouTube. Robert Alvarez, the Psychic Witch, also known as Mr. Lighting and a Fan. Is this not a photograph? This is Durga, who you may know is also Durga the Kitten, Durga the Tabby Tigress, Spider Cat, and of course, Chica! Yeah, she responds to that one the most because, well, guess which one she gets called the most. Hi. I feel good right now. It's very rare for me to wear sweats and things like that, and I'm just so relaxed at this point. So today was a really busy day. Okay, don't keep dropping things, Durga, please. And Isis, the alpha female, is going to sleep on one of my scarves, and it's one of my nicest scarves. Alright, so like I was saying, today was a good day, productive day, busy day. Hold on, I have a little itch here. I might have to start using different detergent. Anyway, so, but a lot of things are happening, a lot of things are going on. And, first, let me tell you what I'm drinking. I am drinking this combination of Canada Dry Lemon Lime Seltzer and Postobon. Postobon is this Colombian apple-flavored soda that is so good. So I have apple, lemon, and lime and fizzy going on. Oh, yeah. Now, normally I would drink some coffee or some tea, but this was easier to put together than the other thing. So, yeah. So, I'm looking forward to a vacation. I have no idea when that's going to be. Anyway. But in the meantime, I wanted to let you know about the upcoming Mirror Salon III. Very excited about it. At Catland, also known as Catland Books. In Brooklyn, Bushwick, Flushing Avenue, Brooklyn, Kings County, baby. So yes, I'm very excited about Brooklyn. I love Brooklyn. I never understood some of these New York City residents that don't do borough, and I'm like, what do you mean you don't do borough? What the fuck is that? Now, of course, as somebody who was born and raised in New Jersey, I'm like, what the fuck is don't do borough? You don't do borough. Like, what? I mean, now, of course, I know what it means, because I've been around so many New York City residents, but first time somebody said, oh, I don't do borough, I was like, you don't do borough? What the fuck is borough? I'm like, really? What? I'm in a mood tonight. I'm just like, but yeah, I'm just like, and of course, so, like I said, I'm sorry. Let me not assume that all of you know what the fuck that means. Okay, so people that don't do borough, what that means is that, let's say, for example, they live in Queens. That means they do not leave Queens for any reason. They live in Queens, they work in Queens, they eat in Queens, they shop in Queens, they relax in Queens. Doesn't matter if it's Forest Hills, Rego Park, Astoria, or any other section of Queens. They're not leaving Queens for any reason. Not even to work, from what I understand. Although some of these people actually make an exception, and it's like, okay, I will go to Manhattan for a job, or I will do this, but I will not do that, and I won't do that. In other words, they don't do borough. So yeah. Okay. For some people, that's how they flow. That's how they flow, then that's how they flow. Anyway, but I happen to love, I must admit, I do have my favorites. When it comes to New York City, my all-time favorite section, my all-time favorite borough is Manhattan. I won't lie. But it's funny because for the longest time, Queens was my number 2 borough. Now it's becoming Brooklyn. I'm spending more time in Brooklyn than I am in Queens, which is so bizarre because it's like I'm so accustomed to spending more time in Manhattan and Queens than the Bronx, Brooklyn, and Staten Island combined, which are the other 3 boroughs of New York City. Now I'm spending more time in Brooklyn than Staten Island, the Bronx, and what was the other one? Oh, and Queens combined. So I find it very interesting, and I'm happy about it. I'm happy about the whole thing because a lot of things are making me happy in Brooklyn, and a lot of those things have to do with Catland. Oh, but I'm telling you, I mean, I've said this before, and I will say this again and again and again. It feels so good to give readings at a public venue on a regular basis again. It really does. And I am most thankful to every goddess and every god and every angel and every fairy and every ascended master and every saint for these opportunities. I am most thankful to all the people who've had readings with me at Catland thus far. I am most thankful for all the people that are a part of Catland, including the regular readers who give readers there during the week, and the people that have led workshops there that I've had, especially the ones that I've had the honor of participating in the workshops they've led. There are some workshops that I just wasn't able to make, and I was like, damn, that would have been a good workshop. And it was. It just, I just don't know experientially how great it was because I wasn't able to attend. And I'm just so happy for all of the wonderful opportunities that have opened up to me, all of the wonderful resources, all of the wonderful everything that has happened in my life in the short time that I've been involved with Catland. So I'm really happy about it. And yes, so the Black Mirror Salon 3 is the other monthly salon at Catland. And the thing about this salon is that it is not necessarily for people who love the tarot. Anybody who loves the tarot and has an openness to other systems of divination, they will enjoy this. And I am happy to report that I am giving palm readings at this upcoming salon. I am giving oracle card readings at this upcoming salon, and now I am giving readings with this. The Animal Speak Runes by the late and great Ted Andrews. It's so funny because one of my personal favorite fellow YouTube witches, Ember Honey Raven, the Big Fat Witch, and for those of you who have not heard of Ember Honey Raven, in all of her videos, she always says, "Hi y'all, Ember Honey Raven, the Big Fat Witch here." So before you get on my case for calling her the Big Fat Witch, she did it first, number one. And number two, her blog is called thebigfatwitch.com. So don't hate me. Don't kill me. She said it first. So, Anyway, so when it comes to, Ember Honey Raven had this wonderful video on prosperity consciousness and financial sorcery, and one of the things that she said in that video was shop in your own home. Now, I confess, when she first said that, I'm like, what the hell does she mean? I'm like, what, shop in your own home? I don't understand that. So, but I finally got it. See, in my mind, I'm a very literal person. That's just how it is. If somebody says to me, I'm going to be there at 5 p.m., then that means that you're there at 5 p.m. And that doesn't mean you're there at 7:30 p.m., at 9 p.m., at 10:45 p.m., at 11:13 p.m. It means that you are there at 5 p.m. If you're early, you're early. But if you're not there at 5 p.m. and you're there at 7 p.m., that means you weren't there at 5 p.m. I'm very big. Everybody who knows me knows this. I'm very big on being literal. I do not require reading a book with pictures. I can read a book that just has words, no illustrations. And I apologize in advance for being for saying this like this. I'm exhausted, so the virtually non-existent filter that I have is even less non-existent right now. But I knew that I wanted to make this video because I have a lot of things going on, and you know, it's still before midnight, so you know, the fact of the matter is that the Black Mirror Salon 3 is in exactly 7 days, so I have a lot of things to do. By the way, right now it is approximately 11:31 p.m. and the current date is Sunday, December 13th, 2015. Obviously that was not the time when I first started this video, because now I'm at 10 minutes and 34 seconds. So yeah, so Ember Honey Raven said shop in your own home, had no idea what the hell she was saying, and then going through my home, you know, looking for things or reorganizing things or putting things away. I was like, oh, I haven't seen this in a long time. Oh, I haven't used this in a long time. Oh, I forgot about this. And here it is. So I spoke to the wonderful and beautiful and amazingly multi-talented and multifaceted Gemini that is the living goddess known as Melissa, who is one of Catland's 2 new co-owners, and told her that I was divinely guided to give readings with the animal speak runes, and I wanted to make sure that it was okay with her, and she just replied, works for me. I'm like, all right. So I enjoyed doing that too. Okay, so I'm going to do this. You know, it's been a while since I've used any runes. Yeah, I'm getting too excited about that. So what do I need to know right now? And I'm just going to limit to 3. So 1, 2, 3. Oh, there's only 3 here. Okay, well, that worked. So each of these runes has the name of an animal, the image of an animal, and a keyword. So, and I'm not reading them in any particular order. I'm just going with what my intuition says. I'm going to read these from bottom to top. No pun intended. For some of you who are more skilled at runes, this would be right to left. So, and these I read upright. Fertility, frog, and the keyword, frog is the name of it, and the keyword is fertility. Now this is interesting because in the Native American tradition, the frog represents cleansing. That's right, because the turtle represents Mother Earth. But here's what's interesting about this. You know, as a witch, I have a special connection to Hecate. Hecate is the Greek or Thracian or Middle Eastern or Turkish goddess, depending upon the resource that you consult, of magic, prophecy, and the crossroads. And interestingly enough, she's been on my mind a lot, and one of her animal familiars is the frog. It's also interesting to note that in my primary pantheon, which is the ancient Egyptian or the Kemetic pantheon, there is a frog-headed goddess named Hecate, whose name literally means magic. And she is also a goddess of magic and of prophecy. I don't know if she's a goddess of the crossroads, though, but it never was a coincidence for me. I was like, that's interesting. Like, really, it didn't surprise me that there is this frog-headed goddess named Hecate in the ancient Egyptian pantheon, and this Greek, Thracian, Middle Eastern, Turkish goddess named Hecate, or Hecate, whose name translates as moving from far away, meaning moving from a great distance from far away. I'm butchering and bastardizing the translation of her name, and I apologize. I'm more tired than I realize. So, Swan, New Realm. And of course, this reminds me of one of my favorite people, Shell. But also, you know, I have this special affinity with Sarasvati. And Sarasvati, or Saraswati, is the Hindu goddess of creativity and of the arts. She's credited with creating the 50 characters of the Sanskrit alphabet. And she is a goddess of eloquence, of wisdom, of self-expression, and she's often depicted as playing the veena, which is the Indian or the Hindu lute. And sometimes she is depicted as riding a swan, which is her animal familiar. Migration. And it depicts birds. And to me, they look like cranes, which in the Chinese cosmology symbolizes longevity and wisdom. And it says time to move. And I know what this is about. This is about a lot of things. For me, this is about time to move forward. This is about moving forward no matter what. This is about surrendering and releasing attachments to situations, to patterns, to people, to things, literal objects that no longer serve my needs. And it's no coincidence that I've often interpreted birds all across the board as messengers from heaven and messages from heaven, or from the heavens, if you will. So those of you who are going to have an animal rune reading with me in exactly 7 days at Catland's Black Mirror Salon 3, this is the kind of reading you can expect with me. I don't know what the guidebook says about these runes. I simply go with my intuition. I go with what I've learned about that animal energetically. Interestingly enough, I have different divination decks or different oracle card decks, and they do interpret animals from a different perspective. I have one, and it's been so long since I've used it, I don't even remember its name. I can see the cover in my mind. I can see one of the spreads, or two of the spreads, in my mind from the guidebook. But the animals are interpreted from a Celtic perspective, and specifically Irish and Welsh. I tend to interpret animals more from the perspective of the Native American cosmology, especially because growing up and embarking on a metaphysical and magical and mystical path, I became quite connected to the medicine cards, which were created by Jamie Sams and David Carson and illustrated by Angela Wernicke. So a lot of the interpretations that I have of what animals represent comes from a Native American perspective, or rather the Native American cosmology. But I also know it's important for me to interpret animals and their symbolism from other cultures and from biology and zoology. Wolves, are very pack-oriented. Wolves are very loyal. And wolves have a very specific strategy with regards to hunting. But that comes not from what I know about the wolf, again from the Native American cosmology. This was just a random thing, but I do not doubt that what I interpreted for myself for these runes is also resonating for a lot of you watching. And if it is, let me know. In the meantime, I want to keep this short and sweet because I've recently started watching Torchwood again, and I love that show. I really do. So, I'm going to create a WordPress blog post to accompany this video, and it will have Catland's website address. It will have the Facebook event page that the owners of Catland created for Black Mirror Salon 3. And of course, one thing I would like to mention, it just so happens that Catland is the only store of its kind in Brooklyn. And those of us that are witches, those of us that remember what it was like when New York City had a lot more metaphysical stores, it just so happens that there are a lot of things that Catland wants to do. However, Catland needs more money to do that. And I'm also going to include the link to, I believe it's a Kickstarter page. I'm going to include the link for that in the information section for this video below. And if you are divinely guided, I would love it if you would contribute to their Kickstarter fund, because there are a lot of things that Catland would love to do in the future, but they simply need the funds to do that. And you know, I think Catland is wonderful the way it is, but there are certain things that would help them be a more productive, more thriving, more exciting place to visit. And I'm not even sure if that's the correct phrasing. And of course, for those of you who have yet to visit Catland's website, please feel free to do so. For those of you who have yet to visit the store, please do so. It's a really great place. I love the energy of it. I love how much they've welcomed me, and you know, and now that I'm talking, I'm like, I need to make a donation to them too. I'm gonna do that now. Yeah. So anyway, thank you so much for watching, YouTube. I wish you many blessings. And by the way, if you have Ted Andrews Animal Speak runes, tell me about your experiences with it. Tell me how long you've used it. Tell me if you were thinking about buying it and now you are definitely going to buy it. You know, let me know. I'm always curious to hear what other people's experiences are with a certain deck, whether it's a tarot deck, a divination deck, an oracle card deck, or any other sacred tool. And this was actually almost an impulse buy. I remember seeing it at my beloved Borders. I miss Borders. I miss Borders. I miss Borders so much. And I saw it, and I wound up giving it to somebody that I hold in high esteem. And then I'm like, you know what? I love Ted Andrews' works, and I want my own. And that's how that came about. Anyway, so thank you, YouTube. Have a good night, and I wish you many happy holidays, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.